Morning guys, Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School, back out here on the trap line again. We've got this long ridge line you can see running behind me here, and it runs in front of me for about 75-80 yards as well, down on both sides. We talked about this before when we set that hog jawbone set up, that flat set with that hog jawbone. Well, it hit the other day really good, and then this morning it was actually dug up. So I think what we're going to do is, I've reset that trap. It's back behind me about 15 yards or so. I'm going to come up this ridge line about another 5 yards, and I'm going to set a double set right there on the other half of that hog's skull. And I'm going to put a double set, one trap on each side. I'm going to get this coyote that dug this trap up. I'm not going to let him whoop me. Now, guys have asked me before, how close can you set sets together? Would you set 2 traps in one spot? Normally, I would say no to that. I would say, no, you don't set 2 traps at one spot. You set 1 trap per set. Normally, I would say, the distance is really up to you. You could put them right across a trail from each other, right across an intersection from each other, or you could put them, a half mile apart. It just depends on how you're trapping and what animals are in the area, what animal sign you see, and things of that nature. But because this trap's already hit, because it was dug up last night, because I know they're coming to that curiosity set of that bone, and because I know that coyotes travel high ground so they get a good visual, and that big white bone is going to attract them, I'm going to use the upper half of that skull on a double set over here and see if I can get this coyote hung tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Stay with me, guys. Okay, guys, I got a pretty high piece of ground right here, and I'm going to put I've got a piece of wire wrapped around this hog upper skull here and an earth anchor on there. I don't want them dragging this off. I can use it for multiple sets. So I'm going to drive this in the ground and then build my set around that. Leave myself just enough tag sticking up, be able to lever that thing out of the ground, and then I'll build my set right here. I'm using 2 of these real heavy Sleepy Creek 1 3/4 coil springs for this set. And I want this thing to be powerful. You got your difficulty of setting these traps and bedding these traps is going to be dependent a lot on where you're trying to set them. I'm in the middle of a field here that's got a lot of growth in it. So there's a lot of vegetation and things like that in here, a lot of roots to deal with. To get this trap to bed solid is tough. We almost have to kind of pull it away from our chain to get this thing to bed right, and then bury the chain separate. You can see that thing does not want to sit very well. Let's see about getting a pan cover over that dude, and then we'll bury it better, get it seated better. There we go. There we go. Much better. Right now, we're just doing the initial. It's still not the way I want it. Now, I did bring with me some dirt. And this is kind of a secret weapon this time that I brought. This is all rabbit droppings. I'm hoping that that's going to even make the curiosity factor higher. And I'm just trying to put the compost in first. And then I'll worry about the rabbit droppings. I'll put them closer to the skull itself. There's our pan. And I've got, right now with the skull, I'm back about 6 inches probably, something like that. And I'm going to box this in a little bit here in a few minutes. But right now, I just want to get it all in place and get both my traps in, and then I'll worry about the final dress up of the set. Now the other trap, assuming I'm going to have the skull in the middle, the other trap needs to be on the other side really. Then it will be a flat set, walk-through type set from both directions, and we'll kind of fence this off right here a little bit to bring them in, kind of like this. Kind of like this, just to bring him into where our trap location's at. It doesn't take a lot of fencing to do that. And we'll go over the other side and set our other trap here in just a second before we finalize things. And then we're going to put a couple things in here to make him not want to go where we don't want him to go. And we'll put a stick right here, which is going to force his foot over this direction. That's what we want. But we want to leave it wide open for him otherwise. And we'll come through and we'll cover that up in just a minute after we get our trap on the other side. Okay guys, now all I'm doing is taking some of this rabbit. This is just droppings from underneath my rabbit cages and dirt. And I'm just covering up my pan, covering the set area, and if a little bit of rabbit poop drops out, I don't care, because that just makes it more interesting to the coyote, because he thinks rabbits have been up in here. And that's good. And once I get that all done, put the remainder back in there. Now, we've got fencing here. We've got a curiosity skull right here that's going to shine real good. They're going to see that. We've got fencing on both sides here. We've got a little guide stick here and a guide stick over here. That's going to bring them into where our pan's at, right here and right back here. The next thing we want to do is get ourselves some type of lure on this hog skull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some good gland lure here. Dip it real good and wipe it right across the front of the skull. Just like this. And then I'm going to put the stick inside the skull. Just like that. Squirt it down with a little bit of urine. I'm ready to go. Okay guys, well again, I'm Dave Canterbury from Pathfinder School. Hope you enjoyed this video on how to make a double set on a curiosity marker or a prominent feature marker for coyote. We'll see how she works out. Like I said, we got another set. It's already hit twice, or hit once, excuse me, right down the way here and got dug up today. So this will give us another option. Don't ever think that, you know, the coyotes are smarter than you are. Don't give up. If you don't give up, you'll sooner or later catch that coyote. I know there's one running this ridge line, and we're going to hang him sooner or later. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your comments. I thank you for everything you do for me, for my school, for my business. I'll be back with another video in this series as soon as I can.